What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? My name is Drasnaescastle, and welcome to my castle. I haven't spent money on the Pokemon series since the Scarlet and Violet DLC in 2023. In hindsight, those two DLCs, which altogether cost $30 by the way, gave us two new areas in the game full of Pokemon and stuff to do. Now, the DLC for Legend ZA seems to be the same price for no new areas and just a reskinned Lumio City plus one area that is a recreation of the island that you find Darkrai on. The Pokemon Company has disappointed me in 2025, and it has been disappointing me since 2023 when the last good DLC for a main series or side series game was released. So, for this company to win me back as a company, for this multi-million-dollar company to win me and many other Pokemon fans back as customers in 2026, there's a few things that they're gonna have to do. And this video is gonna be all about those things. So stay tuned, baby, and make sure to like and subscribe, seeing as you already clicked on this video, because that helps the algorithm push me. And let's get into what the Pokemon Company needs to do to keep me and a lot of you as customers in 2026. Now, if you are not new to this channel, you're probably asking yourself, but Drasnaescastle, you have an entire review of Legend ZA right there on your channel. Click on it up here if you haven't seen it yet. I feel like my opinions are very different now than they were then, and that's relevant to this video. Anyways, I got Legend ZA through one of you lovely subscribers. This game was borrowed to me so that I was able to review it for all of you lovely people and still give you content through the game till this day. And I'm gonna continue to keep borrowing and not spending my own money on Pokemon games until the Pokemon Company changes, because this, I feel, is a great way for us to still enjoy these games that we love, be a community, and not give this company droves and droves of money. It's just by borrowing each other games. Like, this is the way that I used to live my life pre-internet, and I would borrow people my Nintendo Wii games and 3DS games and PlayStation 2 games and even Xbox 360 games, sometimes PlayStation 3 games. Like, there was an era where gaming was a real community-based activity where people came to each other's houses, played games on each other's couches, and that is still the fire and torch I'm carrying today with this channel and just with how I live my life as a gamer. If you see any of my videos where I play games with people, it is a game where I play sitting next to each other. Even when I play Fortnite, I sit next to my friends and play that game. And that is a fully online experience because couch co-op and couch multiplayer games is where my gaming journey started. And I feel like, ooh, got a burp coming, excuse me. And I feel like that is where the magic of gaming originates from, is sharing an activity with the people you love in your life and sitting together on a couch and competing or working together towards a shared goal. And that is really what Pokemon gave to so many of us growing up. I feel like I became so many friends with people in my adult life because I love Pokemon. And I feel like I've reached out to so many of you because of my love for Pokemon. Pokemon is an entirely single-player game, but it is based around you and your Pokemon going on a journey and meeting other trainers and their Pokemon and trading with them and battling with them, building a community around this shared activity. And I feel like that is dying more and more with how much the Pokemon Company leans into this very lazy approach to releasing games just at the bare minimum for us to pay that high price, but not good enough for us to actually appreciate the project long after. Like Heart Gold and Soul Silver, Pokemon X and Y, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire are all games that have long, extensive post games, huge droves of content, and gave people a sense of connection with each other. And I feel like all of that is being lost in this day and age with Pokemon. And that is one of the many things that they're gonna have to change in this coming year if they are gonna keep me, and I'm sure a lot of you, as a customer. Now, here is my first solid demand from the Pokemon Company that I need from them in 2026 for me to continue being a customer. I need all generations from Gen 1 to 7 available on the Nintendo Switch systems. I don't know why I'm so gassy right now, guys. I'm so sorry. Ooh. But currently, all Generation 1 to 7 games are available on the 3DS. And unless you want to do hacky things to your 3DS and sail the high seas, you cannot even get most of what you need to transfer Pokemon from your 3DS to your Nintendo Switch. What you will need, firstly, is a 3DS. And not many people have access to one these days, and they're not exactly cheap. Then, you will need a 3DS that just happens to have Poke Transporter and Pokemon Bank already downloaded, because the Nintendo eShop shut down quite a little bit ago. So you cannot even download those anymore if you buy a brand new 3DS, unless you hack it, which Nintendo does not want you to do. And then, on top of that, you will need to pay for a yearly subscription to Pokemon Home, just so that you were able to transfer your Pokemon over from your 3DS. That is a lot for a casual fan to invest in, just for them to be able to experience the nostalgic games that brought so many of us into the series in the first place. Like, these legacy games are the reason Pokemon is the monolith it is today. People loved those games and still continue to love those games. I personally just finished playing Pokemon Yellow, Crystal, and Emerald, and I caught all the Pokemon in all 3 of those Pokemon games, Pokedexes, and I transferred all the Pokemon from each previous game into the next, and it felt so amazing and cool to live out the Pokemon fantasy I've always wanted of having my Pokemon from the first ever game transfer all the way into my latest game, and just carry on my journey with my pals, because that is what so many of us love this series for, is being able to have fun with these little friends that we make along the way, and being able to take them from game to game. And that's why I feel it's extremely important for Pokemon and Game Freak to make all games from Gen 1 to 7 available on the Nintendo Switch somehow, whether that's through Nintendo Switch Online or through some bundle or however they decide to do it, but they need to put all those generations onto the Nintendo Switch. It's mandatory at this point because we've been asking for it for too long and they've given us nothing. And I am tired of waiting, and I think a lot of y'all are as well. Now, on to my next demand. I need generations 10 and 11 to ship as fully complete games. I need towns where you can walk into the majority of the buildings, just like in all the games Gen 5 and before. I need NPCs that are interesting, just like from Gen 6 and before. You know, the ghost girl in the elevator. I need the ghost girl on the bridge. I need the ghost girl from the haunted house in Generation 4. I just need me some ghost girls. But you know what I'm saying? I need cool NPCs. I don't need NPCs that are just useless placeholders just to be there to give some fake sense of town. The towns feel like cardboard. I just need a complete feeling game. And the fact that our move to a brand new console, the Nintendo Switch 1, gave us Dexit, where they didn't even give us games with the entire Pokedex, and Generation 7, the previous gen, had every single Pokemon available from all previous games. That doesn't compute to me. We are on more powerful hardware than we've ever been before, yet we cannot catch them all. That hurts me as a fan that grew up with the series from the beginning, where that catchphrase was ingrained into all of our minds, and it still is. It hurts me that I cannot catch them all. And Generation 8 snowballed our expectations being warped from the series, and now we don't expect anything except terrible graphics, terrible games, terrible frame rate, terrible just a game that's not finished. They didn't give us a finished game with Scarlet and Violet, and they had to release a whole new console just to fix it, and only now is it a game that is okay, I guess. Well, I don't know. It's actually a lot better than okay. It's very good on the Switch 2 in comparison to what we got with Legend ZA, which Legend ZA was just a big ass disappointment. Like, please watch the review that I made, because my opinions now on this game have changed entirely, I feel. It does not deserve the score that I gave it in that video. It deserves a much lower score. Here's another thing that they need to do. If the remakes in Generation 10 are anything like BDSP, I am also completely out, girl. We need remakes like Heart Gold, Soul Silver, and Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. We need remakes that take the old games and bring them up to what the modern standard is, and then make a full experience that adds more to the original experience instead of it being a carbon copy of Diamond and Pearl, not even including content from Platinum, which is criminal in my mind. Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire included an entire epilogue as a reference to Pokemon Emerald. How could, on a more powerful console, they remove content from Platinum just to keep it as a faithful remake to Diamond and Pearl? I will never understand that. But that's what we got, and if we get that again for the Generation 5 remakes, baby, you best know that I am not gonna be here for it, and they will have lost me 100% as a customer. And if you agree as well, and you are a lover of the remakes, and you want them to make a good one, if they make a bad one, you are out, let me know in the comments. If you disagree, tell me as well, because I want this to be a discussion. Am I alone here? I don't know. I love the remakes. Let me know what you guys feel about the remakes. I need to know. I need to know. And personal anecdote before I move on to the next point. I played Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire before I played the original Pokemon Emerald. And I just want to say, going from remake to original game made me appreciate the original game, and by extension appreciate the remake so much more. And I feel like so many young people did not get that experience with BDSP, because that must have been their first time with Gen 4, and I'm so upset that their first time with Gen 4 was base Diamond and Pearl and not anything from Platinum, which just it just hurts me. It breaks my soul, it blows my mind. Give us good remakes, or a lot of us are out, Pokemon Company. Now, this is my final, more niche demand for people like me who love and appreciate the older retro Pokemon games and really love that era and grew up with it. Pokemon Stadium needs to regain the transfer features. I need to be able to put my Pikachu from Scarlet and Violet into Pokemon Stadium, win a few tournaments, get my badges, and bring out a few Pokemon from that game and bring them into Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Like, they need home support for Stadium and Coliseum, which is coming to the GameCube, Nintendo Switch Online. Those Pokemon spin-offs had connections to the main series games, and that connection needs to be brought back so that we can have that feeling I just went into of carrying our little buddies throughout all the Pokemon games. Like, already, right now, I can bring my Pikachu that I caught in the DLC of Sword and Shield and bring it all the way to Spain and Paldea. I can take my Pikachu on a trip from the Pokemon equivalent of the UK to the Pokemon equivalent of Spain, and I feel like I'm traveling the Pokemon world with my Pikachu. And by the way, I feel like they need to implement something cool in Pokemon Home, like a Pokemon passport, so every time you transfer your Pokemon to a new region or a new game, it gets a stamp in its passport, and you can check every single Pokemon's passport that you have, and you can see all the games that they've been to, and like little one-sentence lines of things they did in that game, like use this Pokemon to beat the Elite Four, or use this Pokemon to go through the game with, or you beat this gym with this Pokemon, and it little like put that on the stamp, and like each Pokemon has their own little Pokemon passport. That would be such a cool feature and give more people a reason to pay yearly for Pokemon Home and make Pokemon Home feel more like a service that's worth our money than just a storage system. Like, I feel like they're almost there. Like, they're giving us a taste of what it could be like on Nintendo Switch to have our Pokemon go through this beautiful journey across the Pokemon world by being able to transfer them into the past in Arceus, and then into the future, Sword and Shield, and then into another game, Scarlet and Violet. It's just so cool that you're able to transfer Pokemon between these 3 games already, back and forth. We should be able to do that with all Pokemon games available on Nintendo Switch, in addition to the spin-offs that already had these features, and in addition to the classic games Gen 1 to 7 that we need on the console. That is the last demand I have from the Pokemon Company. And if you have more demands or less, let me know about yours in the comments down below, because I honestly need a lot from the Pokemon Company if they're gonna have my money in their bank account yet again. Because I want to remind y'all, I've not spent money on them since 2023, and that is gonna keep on going as a personal protest of mine until they change their ways and actually give us something worth our money. Because that's the only way we can protest now, y'all, is to protest with our wallets. Because what else do we really have control over in this crazy world at this point? All right, here is my closing thoughts. The Pokemon Company does not need to reinvent themselves. They just need to respect their history and respect their fans that loved them from the beginning and the fans that got them to where they are today. Now, I want to hear from you. If you haven't spent money on the Pokemon Company in a while, or you have just been boycotting them since Pokemon X and Y, let me know what would make you spend money on the Pokemon Company again in 2026. Drop them down in the comments. I love all of you for watching it this far. I appreciate every single interaction on any single thing I post. It fills me with joy and it keeps me going. So thank you so much for being here, and have a beautiful, lovely day. And remember, be yourself, follow your dreams, be kind to others, and play some damn games, y'all. Play some damn games. Bye.